Can you deal with it? I can't deal with it. I cannot deal with it. Anyway, look, let's go to our next guest. He was on a mission to alleviate poverty, sickness and social injustice by providing aid and liberation to the world's most disadvantaged individuals. And it's not even her day job. She's an extraordinary individual, Samaritan. Please welcome to the show, Nausheen. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Welcome.
You've been inspired by that story, seeing people in the West Bank growing pineapples to make a living?
Yeah, amazing story.
Fantastic. Look, what do you actually do for a living during the day?
Well, I was working full-time for the Leeds University. Because of the work commitments with Moonlight Trust, I've just gone part-time. I work for the Employability and Progression team, so I'm part of that service.
Okay.
Yeah, so 3 days a week, that's my job.
Tell us about your brother, because that's where this journey starts, isn't it?
Well, Moonlight Trust is a very personal and very small charity. I set it up in memory of my brother. His nickname was Moon. When he was 17. He was killed in very tragic circumstances. So it's quite personal, and I love doing it, and that's why I've given up half of my career to do more of this work. I might have less money, but it's very rewarding.
It's very satisfying.
We've just heard from a Palestinian story about pineapples growing there and the innovation that happens in Palestine. Palestine's quite close to you. You've visited a few times with the Moonlight Trust. Tell me a bit more about what you were doing there.
Palestine is very close to my heart. I think everywhere I work, all the people who know me, one thing they know about me is that I'm very passionate about freedom, justice, and anything to do, to support any possible way. I actually went on a volunteering project through university as a volunteer, and a peace diplomat, and this was to stay in Palestinian homes, to connect families across the border. So I met some amazing people, and it was a life-changing experience. I don't think, it was so fulfilling. So once I was there, I met all these amazing people who were doing all these amazing work, but obviously didn't have the funds or finances.
Well, we've got some images, I think, from your trips.
So from Moonlight Trust, then I initiated projects and recruited those people to deliver those projects free of cost.
Fantastic. Well, let's have a look at some of the images from your trips. Inshallah, there we go. So these are from the West Bank themselves?
Yeah, that's a Palestinian family we stayed with. We built a Palestinian home, with our own hands, and that's in West Bank as well. This is an amazing guy who was always praying and cooking, so I just thought it was a really good picture.
So your first visit was as a volunteer, but then you went back, decided to raise some money from the Moonlight Trust and then go back and help.
Those projects are ongoing. Every Ramadan, this is done twice a year in West Bank, in the Haitian refugee camp, and in Jericho, and this charity called Tent of Nations. What this woman was doing, her name was Amal. Amal means hope in Arabic. And what she was doing is that she was trying to fight violence with non-violence resistance. That's the person she was. She was promoting non-violence resistance. So she had a board outside her house saying, fight violence with love and peace. And she was running a summer camp for the children from refugee camps, the children who suffered the traumas, and some of them had lost their parents, but she didn't have the funds. So what we do is sponsor the summer camp. The musicians go and play with students and play colorful books and things like that. That's what we sponsor. So we use their infrastructure, and we provide the funding, so it's almost the project is delivered at free of cost.
How do you get the funding yourselves? How do you fundraise?
Well, I fundraised throughout the whole year for this. I've just fundraised £6,000 for another refugee project, but because it's a charity, we most of the time is through events. We organise fundraising events, bringing communities together. We did a diversity fashion show where people from Saudi Arabian society to Irish band. So different communities contributed, and we also depend on the donations from friends, and I do it from my work, the networking that I have through other means.
Now you're thinking of, we were going through probably the mass migration of our lifetime, from Syria, from Turkey, from Iran, from Afghanistan, across the rivers over to Greece. Now you decided to go to Lesbos.
Yes, I did.
When's this going to happen?
21st of Feb, so we have less than a week to go.
Right, so why have you gone for that? What's the...
Well, I think, we all know since World War II, this is the biggest refugee crisis happening. 1 million people have now come to Europe by sea, by land. 30% of the people who drowned were children. And I've been very engaged with people on the ground in Lesbos. And I met a lot of volunteers who've just gone there to help. There, for example, there's a woman and her husband. They've been there for 3 months. But most people have just gone to help them, and they don't have the money. And what they said that they were helping people who just coming from boat journeys. They were helping them with overcoming the traumas and clothing them and giving them that practical support. But they didn't have money, and they said when they were buying food, they had children and families standing around them and asking them, "Could you buy us a meal as well?" And at that point, she didn't have enough money because they've just gone there. These people have given up their jobs and gone there, and I've met so many amazing groups. So I've had a lot of Skype meetings with the groups on the ground, and she said, so she said she had to prioritize who she could give food to and who she could give life jackets to, because they didn't have money, but they'd just gone out of goodwill. But what I felt like I was in a better position to help, because when I told them, I could put £6,000 towards this project from Moonlight Trust, and they said that is a lot of money, it could help a lot of people. So we decided to go and recruit people on the ground, and your amazing presenter is going to be joining me as well.
Are you going as well?
I'm hoping to go, yeah. And one of the reasons I think when you asked me was because they have a lack of women who've gone over to volunteer. And there's a lot of obviously women who come over to the islands as well as families and men. But women volunteers is something that's not so high in numbers.
Is there a risk attached to this kind of work when, it's one thing fundraising and giving money to a charitable cause, and they have the expertise to do it. What is the danger of people sitting watching something thinking, I want to go as well? What's the danger of them going out? Because obviously delivery on the ground is very different from fundraising, isn't it?
Yes, it is very different, and this is why I think everyone should engage with the people who work there and know what's needed and what's not needed. The situation with the refugees is quite volatile, and what's needed today is not needed tomorrow. That's why we're not taking the aid from here. I had a lot of calls, support from the people here saying, will you be taking clothes, will you be taking shoes, we want to donate. But we don't, because one of the things is that it costs you a lot to export items there. And in some areas they need food, and the others they need winter clothing. So I've made a list of top 26 items, which includes nappies, baby bottles, and baby thermals, and winter clothing, toothbrush and things like that. So a lot of people have gone, just because they were passionate, which is very admirable. But I think it's very important to know how you can help and how it's effective as well. So
because if you look at Calais, items are being burnt right now because there's just a surplus.
Exactly. So
and people haven't made
Absolutely.
contact like you have with people on the ground to find out what's actually required. Sometimes you have an abundance of volunteers as well, which can be a hindrance.
I liaise with lots of people who took items from here, and it cost them so much on the airport. And I'm also liaised with people who've been working on the ground and saying, this could help, but this couldn't. So that's important that you help in a way that is needed. But like I said, with this situation, is quite unpredictable. Everything changes over the night. Now boats are being intercepted by Frontex, which is the European agencies really for the refugees. So before volunteers were allowed, then volunteers. So all this there's a lot of changes on the ground. So you have to be aware of all this. Don't just think, I'm going to go and help. It's not like
well, stay with us. We've got lots to talk about.
Such inspirational panel of guests we have in very different ways. But yes.
I feel like that size today.
Nah, you're great yourself.
But inshallah, once I'm a bit oil, I'll help. Anyway, it's time for a quick break. Before we go, we've got another story for you, and this time it's all the way from Mali, where traditional farming methods are gaining ground.
Indeed, yes, Omar. I can't say his name.
Diatabi.
There you go.
I think so.
Say it again, Omar.
Diatabi.
He's a leading.
It's a friend of mine.
Is he? Yeah, from Mali.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's leading a one-man agricultural revolution in Mali. He's using traditional farming methods to get most out of his land, and it's even teaching and encouraging others across the country to do the same. Take a look at this. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Living the Life. We'll be continuing our conversation with our fantastic guests in just a minute because there's still so much to discuss. But for now, we're heading over to Gambia, where Gabon is seeking riches in artisanal gold mining.
Fantastic. So, ladies, what do you think about gold mining? I'm only joking.
Actually, it was impressive. That's a one-man show.
But you know, yeah.
And here we have two ladies who are literally doing the
Two women shows. One
woman show each, and being quite successful in what you're doing as well. Actually,
Well, that's true. Actually, well, most of the time when I ask for volunteers, it's mainly women that come forward. So it shows that women have more compassion and
30%
passion.
of her clients are men. Come on now.
exactly.
No, but I'm saying when it comes to volunteering, you know, I feel like women hold much more compassion than men. Not trying
We
to.
have more time.
So if people did want to come and volunteer or learn more about the work that you do, learn more about the trip to Greece and Moonlight Trust, where should they go?
Well, I'm a freelance social media trainer, so I'm very active on social media. So we have a Facebook page, which is Moonlight Trust, and Twitter handler is also
Let me know.
Moonlight Trust.
Yeah, Moonlight Trust.
And so they can contact us on social media. I'll be probably responding as well. So we are very active on social media. Yeah.
Yasmin, if I want to get some oil for my beard, what advice can you give for my hair? What should I be doing with it?
I think you should chuck all your hair products away and only use Yasmin cream.
Which kind should I be using?
I'm going to send you some.
Yeah?
So I'll send you a special
Don't forget,
package.
it's silver's the new black, yeah, and all that. So how can people get hold of the product?
So at the moment they're available online on yasmincreamy.com. So really easy to get to, and yeah, all the information's there, everything about the ingredients, you know.
Well, lovely, you've both been a total inspiration.
Yes, definitely.
You know, absolutely inspirational, and unfortunately, we're out of time. Massive thank you to Yasmin Karimi and, of course, Nausheen for coming tonight.
Yes, and of course, thank you for watching at home. You can stay with us as ever on Twitter at Islam Channel with the hashtag LTL. Plus, don't forget you can watch your favourite clips again via YouTube on youtube.com/Islam Channel TV. We'll be back tomorrow.
Indeed, with more interesting guests, stories, lots more entertainment. You can join us then, same time, same place. Until then, Assalamu alaikum.